Here we are with our top 30 selections of tornado photo of the year. Amazing entries this year. I feel like it's one of the stronger years, like overall with tornado imagery. Again, like we've done with the other categories, we are going to kind of highlight a few that we like and then talk more detail when we get to our finalists on the next video. We're not necessarily highlighting ones that are going to make it to the finalists. They might or they might not. We're just going to talk about them because we love tornado photos and we just want to talk about ones that spoke to us or were interesting. And so Jennifer, I'm going to go ahead and let you start off this one if you want to talk about one or two that you really like.
Yeah. 29 is living rent-free in my brain right now, ever since I saw it last night. The rainbow coming through that little like clear slot spot.
Yeah.
And I love how soft the tornado is. I mean, I appreciate a lot of the things that this photographer did in their post-processing. I think the composition is very interesting. The colors, it's like a perfectly serene tornado moment, you know, like I feel like I can hear the birds chirping in my ears just looking at this photo. So wow, what a thing to see, and what a beautiful image. Thank you for entering it.
Yeah, and for me, you know, when the tornado storm season's over, I kind of get off social media a lot, but during the season I'm on there and I see a lot of the photos, and I think it's really good, especially doing a contest like this, to kind of see what's out there every year. And so I kind of know the story behind this one and the storm itself. And the fact is I think there were like two people on it, maybe a tour group, and then the person who shot this photo. And it was a spectacular, like Nebraska, stunning structure, surprise, epic tornado out of nowhere. So I don't know. Sometimes for me, like those are the ones that even stand out more, knowing that this was just a shot that hardly anybody got and hardly anybody was on. And it kind of makes it, you know, a little more special. But you're right. Everything about this is spectacular. Dennis, what about you? Anything that jumps out at you?
Yeah. Let's talk about number 12.
Number 12.
If there is a picture out there which looks exactly like the original Twister movie Tornado, the last one, then this is the one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I like the cropping on this one. If it's cropped, I think a bit, but it doesn't show the whole tornado, just the edge of it. And you don't know how big is it in real.
Yeah.
And you want to know, it's keeping it secret, in my opinion. And I like the way the picture looks, because you will see almost every tornado picture, the whole tornado, and here it's different. And you have the farm in the foreground, and you realize how big it could be, but you can catch it completely. So, and it's wild. You have debris flying around and horizontal vortices and stuff, and it's just a wild scene. I love it. So because it's just different, like most of the other ones, and that's why it caught my eye. And congrats to this shot, and thanks for entering.
Yeah, I agree, because the one that's next to it is more typical, centered, the whole one, which is also spectacular.
Yeah.
But I like that this one was different, like you said. And what almost makes it, I mean, besides everything else, these little trees blowing to the right here, just like you can feel the wind just by looking at those trees, and it's awesome. So one that I really liked, that had this one has such a vibe to it. Like if we were talking about the softness of like that foggy aurora photo from one of our last videos, this one is obviously looks like it's captured in pouring rain. There's rain whizzing by the screen here. You see it on the road, you see it in front on the grass, and this person was able to keep the rain off the lens, which is wonderful. And this car, just like, I think the time of day that it was captured, the darkness, the lights on the car, the reflection, and just the tornado. You can see where the tornado is too. It's not hidden behind a hill. This is just a really, really, I like the color and just kind of the view of this one, the story it tells. Again, we went back to our, Jennifer brought up in our photojournalism one, how some photos could be entered in the photojournalism one as well, and probably actually do great. This is one that it is kind of photojournalistic. You're standing on the shoulder of the road. It's not necessarily, where you set up a great composition. You just kind of had to pull over and take the photo where you took it. And you got a car in the shot that's escaping this area. And it does tell a story in a photojournalistic, type storytelling method. So
it feels so cinematic to me.
Yeah, that's a good word.
And that's the thing that really caught my attention. There's so much motion in that tornado. It is alive. Mm-hmm. And the choice with this green tones, the green of the grass and of the storm, there's just so much to love. We could have maybe cropped it in a little, but I really love it. I really love it.
Now that I'm looking at it, and you said, first off, cinematic, that's the word that I needed to use for this, because that's what it feels. It does feel like it's the palette and the editing feels like it's out of a movie scene for sure. But I was just looking on the left here, like there's the
bent windmill.
The bent windmill here. I don't know if this is the Iowa Day, but anyway, that's spectacular. And this little vortice, whatever on this left. I mean, there's so many different vortices in there. It's just crazy.
So much to love.
God. Dennis, anything else? Any others that you want to talk about real quick?
Yeah, let's do number one.
Number one.
I don't know. It's like a movie poster for me, this one. And I really love this. It has its challenges with post-processing and in some areas and stuff. But I don't know. It doesn't feel not that dangerous like the scene before.
Right.
It's just like a beautiful, I think it's a land sport, but just like a beautiful nature phenomena, what you love to watch, and you can watch it in a peaceful way without any stress and stuff, like it is usually the way. But what I most like about this is the lighting. You have the sunlight hitting, the dust swirling around the vortex, and the contrast is very good on this one. It's just the tones of the brown dust and the green field and the clouds. Yeah, it's just nice to look at, but unfortunately, just some issues with the post-processing. But overall, I like this one.
Yeah, it really kind of displays the idea of how important light is in storm chasing. And if you were on, let's say you're off to the right of this image, let's say we're looking at it from the south, maybe it was from the south, I'm not sure, but if you were on the east side of it, it would be more of a silhouette, where from here the sunlight lights it up and it gives it texture and depth to it that you don't get without the light. And so that's the challenge a lot in storm chasing, is being in the right place for the light to actually help. Not that a silhouette is that bad in a lot of cases, but this, you brought it up, the sunlight on this is really what makes it.
Yeah,
there is a bit of a classical element to this, which I think is where you're feeling that like old school movie poster thing. Like when you're looking at the full resolution image on your screen, it almost looks like it was shot film. Like it has a very vintage feeling about it. So I can appreciate that for sure.
I have a picture in my mind from, I think it's in the 70s or so, where a woman is standing in front of the big Oklahoma tornado, and the dust cloud on it looks very similar. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Unless
I
you're
I
read
thinking
wanted
of,
to see her.
I'm thinking of more of, and of course I'm dumb right now because I can't remember names, but the guy who has on video running towards the land spout in the field.
Jim Reed.
Jim Reed. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I know that. That's what I think of when I see one like that. That feels like the Jim Reed run. I don't know the one you're talking about, so now I need to find that one. I'm gonna have to have you guys send that to me.
Yeah.
I'll put the link in our chat here.
Thank you. Please
Okay.
do it. Jennifer, anything else?
Yes, I want to make sure we talk about number 19, please.
19.
Oh yeah.
I just think that this is worth mentioning because hello, like it's a fantasy to capture a tornado under some visible structure with the stars up above, and to have that with the water in the foreground, tornado water spout. I mean, this is just, it's a catch that you're jumping up and down that you got. So kudos and congratulations to this photographer because that's a special image.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen over the years these, I think a lot of these tend to be out in Dennis will know better, but I was going to say the Adriatic Sea, but more European tornadoes, water spouts that happen at night, that we've seen a lot of these where there'll be a distant, beautiful thunderstorm and little water spouts underneath it. And they're just amazing. I can't even imagine, seeing that.
There are so many pictures from the recent years from the Adriatic Sea, especially at night, or blue hour stuff, and it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's funny because we get land spouts here in Florida, not land spouts, but water spouts here, off the coast of Florida, but I never see anything like this here. This tends to happen mostly, like you said, over there. It's really interesting.
Yeah, you have very warm waters in fall, and in some cases very, very cool air in above. So the Adriatic region is in late summer, early fall time is known for its big storms, or the winds, which produces the big towers for water spouts and stuff. Yeah, it's hard to chase, so it's even more the case that this photo exists. So kudos.
Okay, I was going to talk about this one. This one is it's kind of crazy to me because I think when I first glanced at it, I'm like, oh, this is a tornado. There's a tornado. Oh my gosh, there's a real tornado in there. Because you see this rainbow and this green field and these white puffy clouds, and it looks really peaceful. And then there's just this dirt monster in the middle. And it's and then there's also rain coming down right in front of it, which means it's, I don't know what the focal length of this was, 36 millimeters, and who knows how it was cropped, but it's obviously raining because there's a rainbow going right across below the horizon here. So it's raining right in front, but it's just so well lit up, and it's just a really unique view of it, seeing it completely bright from the sun with the rainbow and the white, and it's almost just lurking in there where you don't see it at first.
And a shot like this can be so hard to manage the shadows to the highlights. So I appreciate how this photographer approached that in their edit.
Yeah. All right. Any other images that you guys want to highlight before we go? There's some spectacular ones in here that a couple that I know that we will end up talking about the next time. This was just such a good year that I feel like our job is going to be pretty tough to narrow these down to a top 10 and then pick.
Yeah. Can we pull up number 10 just because I want to look at the structure because it's cool.
I mean,
that clear slot, the color. And this photographer has some muted tones, which I appreciate. I feel like it adds to its how menacing, and Dennis was talking about Twister, and I feel like I can hear those strings on some of these shots. And I can hear that sort of. So, and interesting with the foreground element. There's some visually just interesting things. I think the crop is interesting here as well. So it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, This one also, like, I guess like we could just talk about all of them. We're not going to, but this is just crazy too. I wonder what the focal length is 24, being able to see like where the tornado comes out like that and then bends down. Like, I feel like we had a few of these from the first year with the one that happened in Minnesota where you can see where it comes out and then it curves down almost like it's so wide
Like
that if
that
you were
Michael
standing,
Mars.
yeah, that one exactly, where if you were standing there in person, it would look maybe a little more straight up and down, like it's so close, because obviously the dust looks like it's just right up there. So this tornado is just right down the road, but just a spectacular view. And I mean, all these are wonderful and unique, and we've just got such a variety, you know, with the daylight ones and the dark murky ones and this one with a rainbow. Oh my God. And this is just spectacular. Like we have a lot of work cut out for us. So congratulations to all of you who made it into the top 30 and who had these, you know, spectacular seasons, especially for people who maybe just don't see tornadoes very much. It's such a tough thing with tornadoes where you know, see tornadoes and they can be stunningly beautiful at the same time, destroying people's lives and people dying from them. And so it's such a weird thing. And obviously we crave the ones that are in the middle of nowhere that do no damage. And so people, you know, come from around the world to try to see these things. And it's spectacular and incredibly scary and dangerous at the same time. And it's a tough one. I know, not getting too deep in the story, but the Holly tornado by north of Abilene this year was one for me where I was within a quarter mile of it and got to see something, been as close to one as I've ever been. And then, you know, but then to see a video afterwards of chasers grabbing a family from their house and taking them to the hospital because of injuries, it immediately brings you back down to earth and realizes, you know, just how dangerous and how devastating weather can be. Even the photojournalism one we went over with Hurricane Helene, you know, causing so much damage. So it's a weird thing that we do, and it can be beautiful and devastating at the same time. So good luck to everybody who entered this spectacular photos, and can't wait to see who the finalists are.